Snow is a rarity where I live in Lower Alabama. I spent most of my life dreaming of a white Christmas that never came, only seeing snow twice in my 33 years here. I wanted so badly to share that wonder with my boys, Jacob and Tommy. I just knew they'd love it. Now, I find myself staring out my window at the snow piled around my home, regretting every wish I ever made for a snow-covered Christmas. It started back in summer. Our summers are always hot, but that year was different. The heat was relentless, with temperatures soaring above 100 degrees day after day. Everyone I knew begged for relief, but the heat wave dragged on until just before Halloween. Then came the hurricane, a monstrous storm that tore through the Gulf of Mexico. The devastation was unimaginable. Florida bore the brunt of it, and our town saw its share. It was chaos. People came from everywhere to help, and for a moment, it felt like the worst was behind us. I wish that had been true. The rain began in November, a constant and ending drizzle that turned into a deluge. Weeks passed, and the rain continued. Nearby towns flooded. Susan, my wife, kept thanking God our house was on high ground, tucked among the trees. I was thankful too, but I didn't believe God had anything to do with it. By Thanksgiving, the rain finally stopped and the cold came. Not the usual cold we're used to in Alabama. This was something different, something sharp and cutting. Temperatures plummeted, falling near freezing. Jacob started singing that Bing Crosby song, Dreaming of a White Christmas. Susan's face lit up at the thought of the boys seeing snow on Christmas Day. "The boys will finally get to see snow, Paul," she exclaimed. "I know. I can't wait to see Tommy waddling in it," I laughed. Those words echo in my head now, and I have to fight back tears when I think about how naive I was. The snow started falling in early December, and at first it was magical, but it didn't stop. Inches turned into feet, and everything shut down. We're not prepared for snow down here. No plows, no snow tires, nothing. The town was paralyzed. The snow kept coming, heavier each day. I bought a snow shovel, one of the last on the shelf, but it was like trying to empty the ocean with a cup. The news was bleak. The North was buried, and the president declared a state of emergency, urging people to evacuate south, but our situation wasn't much better. Temperatures dropped to unheard-of levels, and pipes began bursting everywhere. We were freezing in our own homes. By Christmas, we had no power. Utility companies stopped trying to repair the lines. Local officials abandoned their posts. Rumors spread of people heading further south, but I was afraid of what we'd find there, afraid we'd be worse off without shelter. I decided to hunker down. I cleared a path to our fireplace and tried to light it, fumbling like a fool. We managed to get a small fire going and huddled around it, desperate for warmth. The snow had piled up past our windows, breaking some of them. I tried to seal every crack to keep the cold out. We ate what we could, canned food, mostly. It felt like a grim survival experiment. I had nightmares of snow that Christmas Eve. When I woke on Christmas morning, it was darker than it should have been at 9 o'clock. I got up to check the fire, but it had gone out. I went to get more wood, but as soon as I opened the door, I was hit with a blast of ice and snow. Our house was buried. Susan woke up, confusion in her eyes. She went to check on the kids while I worked on the fire. Then I heard her scream, a sound that cut through me like a knife. I ran to the boys' room and saw Susan at the door, shaking, tears streaming down her face. The window had given way, and snow had poured in, burying the boys in their beds. I saw their pale blue faces, Jacob's body shielding Tommy like he was protecting him even in death. I pulled Susan away, trying to hold back the sickness rising in my throat. Her sobs subsided, but when I looked into her eyes, she seemed empty, broken. She wouldn't respond to me. I sat her by the fire and wrapped her in a blanket, then went back to the boys' room. I cleared the snow, found Jacob with a gash on his head. He must have been knocked out instantly. Tommy had clung to him, seeking warmth. I wrapped their bodies in blankets and carried them to the guest room. When I returned to the living room, Susan was gone. The back door was open and a tunnel cut through the snow outside. I tried to follow her tracks, but they vanished behind a wall of ice. I dug for hours, screaming her name, my hands raw and bloody from the cold. I knew she was gone. I went back to the fire, numb and exhausted. I burned the Christmas gifts one by one to keep warm. I imagined the boys playing with their toys, Susan smiling with her camera, capturing every moment, but those moments would never come. The numbness crept over me, colder than any snow. This was my fault. I should have taken my family and left when I had the chance. I'm writing this now, hoping someone will find it. I don't know what's happened to the rest of the world, only what's happened to me. I'm running out of food, and there's nothing left to burn. I think I'll try to dig myself out tomorrow. If you find this, know I didn't give up. I just wish I'd done this sooner. I'm so sorry, Susan, Jacob, Tommy. You deserved better. Paul.